everyone, this is Vo from I Love Loose Figures. I'm picking here in Medford, Oregon. I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, no stranger to the channel, Mr. Bryan Bielanski.
Hey, Steve. Good to be on the show again. Thanks for having me on.
Good to have you, man. I've been having technical difficulties, and I've spaced the time by an hour. That time zone trick, I'm sure you have never had an issue with time zones with a gig. I'm sure you've never had that.
Luckily, it's few and far between. It's kind of funny. I played a show right on the border of the Atlantic time zone a few days ago, and my phone switched back to the Eastern time zone. And I was like, what's going on here? I feel like I've been playing for an hour and this says I just started the show kind of thing. So kind of interesting. Yeah. I was just in the Atlantic time zone a couple of days ago playing in the province of New Brunswick in Canada.
Right on, Canada. So how was Canada? Do they really have milk in bags like I heard from a Five Iron Frenzy song? You have to go there to get milk in a bag. Is that really true?
I didn't see any milk in bags. And something else that I noticed, I don't know where we get the Canadian bacon from, because over there in the grocery store, their bacon was the same as American bacon.
So when it's Canadian bacon, it's probably just says bacon and it's circle.
No. I mean, it was just like our real bacon. So that was pretty interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And no, the audiences were great. I did a show in Ottawa, Toronto, and London, Ontario the other week, and just played in Edmundston, New Brunswick. And after today, I'm headed back across the border. I'm going to be playing shows in Prince Edward Isle and Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec, and Ontario.
Man, as a hockey fan, I want to go to Toronto someday because that's the Hockey Hall of Fame there in Toronto.
Oh yeah.
I know you get to just travel through. You don't get to have a lot of time to enjoy the outlook of area. You don't get to enjoy the time while you're there. You're on the road, you're traveling, but that's cool that you get to go into Canada. You're doing shows in the States as well. Brand new Bryan Super Happy Funtime is available. Talk about that, the brand new one here.
Oh yeah, it just came out last month, September 8th. Bryan Super Happy Funtime 4. It's 14 original songs. I just recorded it over the summer in Charlotte at Catalyst Recording, which I've done many albums there with Rob Taglione, the producer, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm glad that the trilogy has become a quadrilogy, and yeah, it seems like people have been enjoying the new songs. There's some more, I consider this more of a album for diehard fans maybe than a first time listener. And that was just it wasn't a conscious decision I made. I just, was writing songs that I think were more for the diehard Bryan Super Happy Funtime fans on this one. And I know you've given it a listen too, and I appreciate you taking the time for that. And thanks for sharing the songs on your page too. I do appreciate that.
Oh man, I always love sharing your music because it fits with I Love Loose Figures a lot. We're in the culture and the nostalgia of things. And you mentioned you have 14 originals, so usually you do some covers. So this time you decided to give out to the fans and do all 14 originals. So what was your mindset outside of making things more for the fans? What was your mindset for going all 14 new versus not having some covers this time?
Well, the main reason was so I wouldn't have to pay for the licenses to be, because that was a little tricky. There, and they were, modestly priced, but at the same time, just going through the extra legwork to secure the licenses, because I had the 4 covers on Bryan's Super Happy Funtime 3, then had to pay Leonard Skinner for the Freebird cover on the Freebird EP from last year. So this time I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go all originals. Luckily, I had enough originals. Some of the songs I wrote just a couple weeks before the recording. I had a brainstorming songwriting session down in Mississippi a couple weeks before the recording session, and I wrote quite a few songs, and yeah, there's some some more introspective songs on this album. There's still some fun, happy-go-lucky, fun tracks, but a couple songs, just kind of about like some of the complexities that arise as leading the traveling musician lifestyle, and some of the things that entails, like the Bryan Super Happy Funtime blues song, which people have been enjoying a lot at the concert. So I'm really happy about that. I was a little nervous to see how audiences would react to some of the songs, singing a little bit less about pop culture stuff on this album. However, after the album was recorded, now I've got like I had a songwriting like just brainstorm, and and this is what usually happens once the pressure is off to have material for recording one album. Usually songs just like come into my brain left and right. So I've got a new Star Wars song actually in the works,
Nice.
and yeah, another video game song. So I've got plenty of songs in the works for the next album.
Well, that's just more content for I Love Loose Figures to use for your music. Like I said, your music resonates to a lot of our pop culture needs and resonates to the watcher. And I love how you're a singer songwriter. You travel across the United States. Are you around 11 months ish on out of the year on the road, or give or take?
Yeah, this year it was a full 11 months. I mean, the tour started back in January 3rd in Europe, and the tour will officially end November 29th, the day after Thanksgiving. Of course, going home to celebrate Thanksgiving with mom. And then I have one final show of the official tour in North Augusta, South Carolina. And then I'm doing a few dates in December regionally in the Southeast. And then things are picking right back up. January next year, I'll head off on tour again. And I've got dates booked all the way up to September in 2025, going back to Europe in the fall there, and doing the U.S. Winter and spring. Summer, still trying to decide what to do with the summer. Might try to go add some new countries in the belt for the summer. So that summer's still in the planning stage, but fall definitely Europe, and winter and spring definitely U.S. tour for 2025. Just staying busy.
Right on. Well, and you're in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where you live, man. So I gotta talk about this a minute. I know you're on the road, but the Carolinas, man, the hurricane that's coming through there. Uh, did Charlotte? I know you probably weren't there, but did Charlotte get any kind of hit with that, or was it mostly just the back end of the storm?
Well, I know a lot of people lost power for some time, and of course, nothing, not the kind of bad shape that the western part of the state was in. And my heart goes out to those people. A lot of people, lost a lot. A lot of people lost their lives. So all I can say is, my heart goes out to those people, and the families of people who lost loved ones are in my prayers. And I if I was down there, I'd be doing stuff to help. I know a lot of my friends are like running supplies to people up there, and there's only so much I can do when I'm on the road. But luckily the communities, are binding together to try to recover from the natural disaster there, which is so sad. That happened there. But thank you for asking. Yeah, everything was fine in Charlotte for the most part, other than people losing power, from what I heard.
Right on. And my heart goes out too because just people getting impacted, lives being changed. And I lived in Charlotte for a few years, and I know the Carolinas. It's a lot like Oklahoma, where they rally. They may have your issues with people. It's like you have family members where you have issues with them, but when somebody comes to attack that family member, you're all of a sudden like, oh, I'm on the defensive with this person, and it's just cool to see people rallying together and networking and helping out.
No
Um,
doubt.
man, so let's get back on a lighter topic here. So pop culture, you do sing about that, and you got Star Wars coming up. You've got some other stuff that you don't have to disclose everything, but if you could have the dream of, like, if you could do anything with pop culture, like if you could make a song for a fandom of any kind and they would actually use it and push your brand out and promote that brand, what would you use? What niche or product line would you want to endorse with that?
Oh, that's a really good question. And all I can say is, I know the "I'm Your Super Mario" from the last album. That is the most popular according to the statistics on the streaming sites like Spotify and Apple Music. That is the most popular song that I have. So it seems like people are resonating with that. I mean, and I am a huge fan of the old school Nintendo. So I'd almost have to say that's kind of it. And of course, Star Wars. God, love that franchise too. That's a really good question. And I think it's great what I Love Loose Figures does too. My tip my hat to you. Much respect for that because it's a great thing and it's something that can bring people together. And it's great that anyone from any walk of life can enjoy that kind of pop culture, regardless of whatever political affiliations or socioeconomic kind of divisions. It's something that can bring people together. And I think there should be like more of that in our world today, because and that's what I try to do with my music. I like the fact that my music can be enjoyed by anyone, literally. Ages 9 to 90, I like to say, doing everything from the youth group homes to the retirement communities. And yeah, and I think and people sometimes underestimate the power of pop culture and how it can bring people that might have differences together on some common ground. Because I think we as humans have a lot more in common than we have differences, and I just think it's kind of sad that the media these days tries to dwell on the differences rather than the similarities. And so that's one of my little missions of the Bryan Super Happy Fun Time, to just try to have a good time, leave the troubles at the door, enjoy some music, and go home with a smile on your face. That's kind of my mission.
And that's the interview today with Bryan Bielanski from Charlotte, North Carolina. Check him out on the road. Check out bryansuperhappyfuntime.com for all the tour dates and all the releases he has. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, make the world go round. Peace.